I have a new series I'm about to launch, and it's the deconstruction of the terms high vibration and low vibration. Excuse the mess in the background. I'm in the middle of moving, so it's chaos right now. Um, so I wrote it down because it was so much to unpack. And again, this is just the beginning of the series. It's a long series, it's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to try to be quick in this. And then hopefully, again, I'm in the middle of moving. I would like to do one video a day to start unpacking it. I can't promise you though, unfortunately. The first is right around the corner. So let's get started. Um, I will be breaking this down into a series. Again, I'm learning how the term high vibration and low vibration have been taken out of context and also used as a tool in a certain context to control behavior. It also contributes to black and white thinking. You're at war with two parts. What you're deeming as high value and what you're deeming as low value. And the term low has a negative consequence to it. This right here can be damaging psychologically. It causes, a false sense of self. It causes cognitive dissonance to occur, causing internal conflict, also known and contributing to the war within. We're already at war within ourselves, We're trying to combat. It also can cause you to repress certain emotions. Emotions are important. I'm going to explain that in a separate video. Part of the human experience is emotions. At some point, they labeled these emotions as low because that's what this high and low vibration was created for, was to create division within these emotions. However, emotions that protect you, emotions have a part. They're very, very important. They cannot be low. The fear of getting burned is what keeps you from touching a hot coal. Anger is a powerful catalyst for change. Without the anger, for example, we wouldn't have women's rights. Women got angry. We were tired of not being able to vote, own bank accounts. Without that anger, change would have never happened. Okay, what we got messed up is the problem was never the emotions. The problem was the lack of self emotional regulation, the lack of being taught emotional regulation, the lack of emotional intelligence. It was never ever the emotions. Those are not bad emotions. Those are necessary emotions. The not good part, or the part that we have the issue with, is how we react, how we respond. That's the problem. Okay, and let's back on track. Let's see here. So identity disturbance. Yes, in extreme cases, it can mess with, identity. Oh, I have to give out this persona of being high as opposed to never being low. That can also contribute to repression. In extreme cases, when applied to extreme beliefs, it can also be a breeding ground to cultivate narcissistic traits and contribute and aid in the behaviors of covert narcissism. It's also given birth to harmful rhetoric. And I give the example of this. High value women, low value women. That's the harmful rhetoric. Or high value men, low value men. Harmful rhetoric that is being taught and heavily conditioned to an entire generation. High vibration, low vibration. High value, low value. I'll also be touching base on that. I'll be touching base on something that is not known and is not seen, is when you place that high value and low value on yourself, you're actually giving yourself a limit. Values in math have limits. When you are attaching this to your self-worth, values in math have limits. So when you apply yourself to a high value, low value, or even high value, you put a limit on yourself. You are put into a specific box. You think it's high, but it's not. You still have limitations. It's still limited you. Therefore, it is being it's the foundation of this belief system is a limiting belief, and it is a limiting belief system. So no true growth no true self-growth can be grown in a limiting conditioned atmosphere. Also, I'll be touching base on how it's creating division among us as a collective, as well as division with, within ourselves. I will also be explaining what it looks like energetically when I'm doing readings or even engaging with day-to-day people, how similar the psychological and spiritual aspects are of, how these play out when somebody's heavily conditioned in the low vibration, high vibration belief systems. And I give for example, uh, some of the examples energetically and spiritually, anything that creates black and white thinking, such as these two terms, can cause the spirit or soul to split. We become fragmented. So I'm engaging with different aspects of the individual I'm reading on, right? What we consider that current version, and then the other version, which I think people refer to as the higher self. Again, I don't like that terminology, so I'm going to say the wholeness within a person. So I have the fragmented part of that split because of this black and white thinking that I'll engage with, and then the part that your true authentic version, the version in where you become wholeness within yourself. I will engage in those two aspects while doing a reading. So let's jump to the psychological part. Black and white thinking also splits the mind. There's a similarity there, and it's a very interesting similarity. I can't wait to touch base on. Again, this is going to be a series. So with the harmful psychological aspects of the black and white thinking, it also creates splitting within the mind, internal conflict. People start to hide parts of themselves that can lead to mental illness, depression, anxiety, kind of like what I touched base on the top. But also, the more importantly, the end of it is how I'm going to touch base on the overall picture was never supposed to be the terms high vibration and low vibration, high value, low value. It was always supposed to be about alignment. And somewhere in all of this, that got, I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. It was never supposed to be about high and low. It was always supposed to be about alignment. Alignment, alignment, alignment. As well as radical self-love in terms of self-compassion and self-acceptance. Not shaming these parts of you. It was never about highs and lows, but about wholeness. Anyways, okay. So that's all I got there. I'm again in the middle of moving. I'm going to try to post one video a day, as I'm already starting to break it down, writing it down. Please like and follow. I really appreciate it. That way I can, keep this content going out. And again, I'm in the middle of moving, so I'm going to try hard, but I can't promise you. But I'll definitely be, unfolding and unpacking this as we go along, and also the reasoning why. But anyways, I hope you have a great day. Bye.